Hello everybody, I'm MOC and welcome back to a new Bionicle MOC review. Today we're taking a look at the two mysterious villains from the end of Renzo Season 1. This is Drex and Luvios. Now in this video I'll be explaining minor character details that have been changed or altered for Renzo Season 2, mostly because I didn't like them, so I will be retconning a couple things that were mentioned and a couple points that were made in the post-credit scene, but for the most part they are the same character, but a lot of their backstory and a lot of them as characters have been changed substantially. So first up is Drex, and Drex is Ouroboros' first in command, and he is incredibly loyal towards Ouroboros. I mean, just look at this guy. He's got a fancy little cape back here, which used to be Rangus's butt cape, and used to also be part of Zonzo, but I took it off because I thought it looked really nice for Drex himself. Now, with being Ouroboros' first in command now, he is no longer Ouroboros' son. Basically, he calls Ouroboros father, and so does Luvios. She calls him father too. That is no longer happening. I'm just saying that right now, and it's going to be reinstated in Renzo Season 2 because I didn't like that. It was kind of weird, and it was a little too much like the Thanos connection that was part of Infinity War with the children of Thanos. So now Drex is just Ouroboros' first in command. He's incredibly loyal towards Ouroboros and his cause, which I can't tell you what it is right now, but basically it makes perfect sense once you actually see what it is. Anyways, who cares about the little details? Let's get into the MOC himself. He's actually very basic. He's got a very basic Tahu Uniter build. Color scheme's a bit of a mess. It's a little bit of just what Quake Beast did. So you have purple, neon green, trans purple, gunmetal gray, and then some black here and there. But the MOC is super simple. There isn't much to the MOC, but I don't know. I think he works. I just really wanted to make a purple villain MOC, and this was really the only purple mask that I had that could work for a villain, and I think the mask looks really cool in my opinion. Drex has this really weird alien face thing, and I think the Beast mask really drives that home. I really like the color combination. It looks very strange on Quake Beast because Quake Beast doesn't have any other normal purple, but at least here there are some purple spikes throughout the body and there's the purple shoulder pads, so it kind of ties it all together a little bit more. And he does have some horns back there, but he doesn't have a jaw, which I know a lot of people are like, what? You know, Beast head without a jaw? But I think it looks more alien if he doesn't have a big jaw. It looks less cartoonish, like his mouth is always open, and it looks more like, I'd say it just makes him look more like a bizarre alien, and I know I could totally see why some people would have a problem with the lower jaw there, but I think it looks just really bizarre and alien, and I think that's exactly what I was trying to go for, because he's a weird, creepy alien, so I wanted to drive that point home. Starting off the legs, again, they're super simple. I tried to get all the colors to work with the legs here, so he's got trans neon green, he's got purple, he's got trans purple, a little bit of a mess, but I think it was the best way to do the legs, and his feet have changed so many times, but now I'm just sticking with the Paraka feet since I think they work well enough. Then he's just got very basic gunmetal leg armor here. Again, he's very basic. There isn't much complexity to the actual MOC himself. The actual torso here is, again, just like a Tahu Uniter. He does have a waist articulation. He's got, the arms are just simple ball joints, and he's wearing, I guess the explanation would be that these are black gloves. And then you may notice that he has one silver armor pad right here, and then one gunmetal one. No real story significance, it's just different armor. It's kind of weird, but I don't think either I didn't have another silver one or I didn't have another gunmetal one. Probably I didn't have another gunmetal one at the time, but I could probably replace it. I'm probably going to replace it. Taking a look at the back, he actually does have Taking a look at the back, he does have this cape, like I mentioned, which originally was used as a skirt piece for Kylo Ren, but I think works as just a very formal, like, general cape because it's very straight down, it's very flat, there isn't any tears or anything. Yeah, I think it works for his character. And then one of these purple armor pieces right there, I think that has a nice look to it with the piece hanging out right there. I think that looks kind of nice. He has a normal, no printing on his chest piece. Again, just very simple, gets the point of the armor across, and then purple shoulder pads from, what is this? Voltix, I love those pieces in purple. That looks really nice. And then obviously his head is this gross purple thing with this trans jaw underneath, which can look pretty gross from straight on. That looks kind of weird, but if his head's actually angled down a little bit more, it does look pretty intimidating, I'd say. It's a really cool, evil looking mask in my opinion. One more thing to really emphasize how loyal he is to Ouroboros. His main weapon here is a laser sword, as I don't really have a name for him, but this is his weapon. He's got this particular looking laser sword, which is built from the same tech that Ouroboros and the Cretan people use, so it's black and trans blue. And this just kind of perfectly emphasizes how loyal he is to Ouroboros. He uses his weapon, he wears his armor, and he's got this big old blue blade. And I like the idea of blue much better for his character as well, because red is just generic evil, and then green was the color of Sanzo's sword. So I really just wanted to have a blue sword for a villain. So I think that's kind of cool. Next up is Luvios, and Luvios is a female. She used to be Ouroboros' daughter, but is now just another person who works with Ouroboros, and she has been working with Ouroboros for a lot longer than Drex, which you would believe makes her a little bit more loyal, but she's actually not. She's a lot more critical of Ouroboros. She would rather make fun of him and make fun of his tactics because she has no idea what he's even trying to go after anymore. But she's been working with Ouroboros a lot longer than Drex has, but Drex is far more loyal. Luvios is a very bizarre alien. She has very distinct powers, specifically more psychic type powers. You know, she can fling things with her mind, very similar to Ebony Maw from Avengers Infinity War. In fact, that was her major inspiration, where she was just this psychic alien who could throw things around. She has limits to her powers. Obviously, she can't like break bones inside people's bodies or anything overpowered like that. It's very basic, just fling stuff around and move stuff with her finger. It's weird. You don't see female characters that look a ton like this. So I wanted this female character to look really bizarre and really strange. I do want to give credit to the chest design. This was not made by me. I believe it was Toa Kemzal, I believe his name was, on YouTube. If you look up, I was just looking up torso designs. I don't exactly remember. I apologize if I butchered your name or if I didn't use this torso without permission. I just kind of looked up torso designs and I was like, yeah, this works. And then I kind of took my own spin with it. I kind of made it a little bit more organic and alien looking, because that's what I was trying to go for. And luckily this gives her a great range of articulation. She can bend her back like all the way back, and again, that works for those sort of weird psychic character who's always bending around. She's a very flexible creature. The thing that her species has is that they actually have a weird bone structure. They have like a weird flexible bones, so they actually can move in a variety of different ways and it doesn't like affect them. So she can move she can get in a lot of unnatural poses that just don't work, but it works for her species. So yeah, starting off with her legs, they're pretty simple. They're actually, I don't really like them that much, but her feet are very flat, so she's always planted on the ground. They have a decent amount of articulation, not a crazy amount. And then it's kind of a bad habit of mine, but I've really started to love just using these to cover up the armor. It's so convenient. It's not, it looks pretty nice most of the time. It helps with feminine characters too, because you really just get that sort of shaping that you want. And I don't know, I'd say that's okay looking. I don't think the legs are particularly amazing. They're probably my least favorite part of her. For her waist, I'm not the biggest fan of it either. It is very it looks fine from the front, but then when you turn it around, it's like, ugh, it's very flat from the back. I'm actually surprised I never tried to even fix that up, so I'm probably going to try to do something after the video, because admittedly that does not look very good. But again, she has full range of articulation. She can move a ton. That's about as far back as she can go, which isn't crazy, but it does help, especially for a lot of expression. She'll lean back a ton. That's just her character. She does lean back and like relax herself, so she does that a lot. And then again, like I mentioned, the actual torso is not my torso design. It is Toa Kemzal, I believe his name is, so credit to him. I believe I modified it quite a bit, but I think a lot of it still is the same looking thing, so again, credit where credit is due. I already sort of talked about her arm, but I'll go a little bit more into it. It's weird. Again, she has these weird, like, tentacle-esque fingers, and I think that does really get the point across that she's this bizarre mind control-y alien. She doesn't mind control, she only physically moves things, but she's this very bizarre, weird alien, and I think the weird tentacle fingers kind of get that across. And then her actual arm is very, very skinny. It's just muscle, basically. The black is like tendons, I think, and then the red is just the actual muscle. Super weird. This arm doesn't lift up because of the axle, but it's very easily, you just move it, and then boom, she's got free range. So it moves a decent amount. The arm moves a little bit more than 90 degrees, which is nice. You can get some pretty decent poses out of that, and that, again, that fits with the species. Again, she can like physically do that, like if she wanted to. That's just something her species can do, and that's really gross. Lastly here, we'll just cover the upper side and her head. She does have a cape too. This one's a lot more simple. It's more like a vest. It's more just a small piece of white clothing. But yeah, it looks interesting enough, I guess. And then her head is really weird. She's got this weird neck, like I mentioned before. It bends all around, and then her head is just an eye and two like sensor antenna things. I should mention how she talks. She actually talks through waves, like psychic waves. So she doesn't physically speak with her mouth. She doesn't have a mouth physically. She just speaks through physical, weird, magical waves thing. Again, it's super weird. She's a very strange character. We have the two next to each other, very clearly different scales. She is much taller than him. Drex is about the size of Renzo, if I remember correctly. I think he's actually a little shorter, and that's just done because, again, he's not a big, powerful alien or anything. He tries to be. He tries to look as intimidating as possible, and to most, little aliens he is, but again, when he comes face to face with Renzo, he's gonna be like, whoa, this guy's actually bigger than I thought he was. But Luvios is kind of tall and lanky. She's not as tall as Ouroboros. Ouroboros still takes the cake in terms of height. He is massive. He's like up here or something. He probably wouldn't even be able to fit on the camera. But again, they're just his henchmen, so obviously they're not nearly as big or as intimidating as him. So this was Drex and Luvios, the two baddies of Season 2, just one of the few baddies. They're not massive characters, they're not going to get massive roles in Season 2, they really are just Ouroboros' henchmen. They've got a few character moments. We do figure out, where they came from, and what their deal is, and why they're working with Ouroboros. We figure all that out, but again, they are not major characters. They're not crazy characters who are going to be in every episode or whatever. They're just henchmen, basically. But I wanted to make this review just to show them off because they're interesting enough, I guess, and I wanted to talk about a lot of the changes that they're going to go through in Season 2 since I've already worked with their characters a ton, and I've kind of just decided that I was not very happy with what that scene worked out in the final scene. If you guys haven't seen the episode 12, then you don't know this, but they did appear in a post-credit scene in episode 12 of season 1, and it didn't really work well, in my opinion. So they are retconned a ton, but again, it's not completely retconned. There's still some things left over, but either way, I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next mock review. Goodbye.